Many people talk about the ups and downs of married life, but no one really prepares you for life after your spouse passes away. Welcome to Widowhood Real Talk with Tina, a safe place for widows, widowers, and their friends and family to talk about love and loss. Find comfort as you listen to honest conversations between Tina and invited guests who've experienced the loss of their forever partner. Share their stories of love, grief, and healing. You are not alone in this journey. Join today's episode and discover a wealth of resources and learn how to connect with others who are traveling the same path. This is Widowhood Real Talk with Tina.
Hello, my name is Tina Fornwald, and welcome to Widowhood Real Talk with Tina. Today is a conversation that I'm having with you. Many of you have asked me what are some things that I have learned along this journey of widowhood. And I have a list right here, and I'll go over them one by one. Also, please email me at widowhoodrealtalk@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear the things that you have learned on this widow journey or your grief journey in particular. And if you're supporting someone that is grieving, please share the things that you have learned about them because it will be able to help others. Number one, actually, should I do it in order? No, I'll stick with what I was doing. Number one, I am not alone. The thing about this grief journey, the head chatter, the things that will come into your head, that no one else could be in this much pain. No one else could have this much suffering. No one else could be living this difficult of a life. That is not true. I learned that I was not alone. I learned that there are tons, thousands, daily, more widows and widowers. And knowing that wasn't a trauma bonding type situation, but it told me, Tina, you are not the first person to endure this, nor will you be the last, which means it is something that I have the capacity to live through, to move forward, and I will at one point in time be okay. When I learned that, it changed my mindset from, I don't know if I can do this, this will never work out, to, yes, though it is painful, I have the capacity within inside of me to be able to keep living. It was important for me to know I was not alone. And that actually circled into the idea of how powerful number two is, which is community. When I was realizing I was not alone, I reached out to every widow and widower that I knew. I made time to be in their presence, whether it was in person or on the phone. I had so many questions, and they were so willing to answer. That community that created for me was so important, and it gave me the ability to be able to keep living, to know that I was not alone, and that there were other people that would encourage me. They would share their journey with me. They would let me know that this is something that they experienced. They shared their version of it, and it allowed me to take their pieces of this journey and create my own. Number three, memories are good and memories are bad. And what that looked like for me, I had to take my time on when I wanted to see the memories. Sometimes it was all at once, and then I didn't really want to see them at all. And I had to be honest with myself about what that looked like. And I remember one time that I was looking at pictures of Mark and I was listening to voice messages in particular because hearing his voice just made it feel so good. And I fell asleep with the phone in my hand. And when I woke up, all of the messages were gone. I was devastated. I went to the phone store, standing there crying profusely, just unhinged. I feel so sorry for whoever was at that Verizon store and had to help me that day. I probably left them shook. But I was devastated, and there was nothing they could do to get those phone messages back, and that was bad. I reached out to my children and I asked them to share with me the messages that they had with their dad's voice, and they sent them to me. And it is a precious thing to have. So I encourage you, if possible, please take the pictures. Please create the memories. Please cement them with audio and videos because one day you won't be able to. And the good part is tons of pictures of Mark, tons of memories with him and the children that I will cherish as long as I can breathe. Number 4, music and smells. Ooh, music, songs that we danced to, songs that Mark played. Mark was a hard rock kinda guy, and so I learned the Eagles and so much music that I never thought of before by being with him and being married to him. The music and the smells. Oh my gosh, the smell of chili. Mark used to make chili from scratch at home, and he'd have a big pot and putting it together to this day. When I'm having chili and rice, I think of him. The smells of a bonfire, because our family had a bonfire every year, and the smell of wood burning brings back so many memories of him. And also his cologne. He wore gray flannel. And when he passed away and I was moving from Pennsylvania to Virginia, I packed up so much stuff and some things I got rid of, but his gray flannel, I could not. It traveled with me literally in my vehicle. And when I made it to my first residence here in Virginia, I sat in the tub and I smelled that gray flannel and I spoke to him, and it reminded me of who he was. I don't have the gray flannel now. It took me a while to get to a place that I did not need it anymore, but it was very comforting. And I encourage you, if there are things that you do that are safe and allow you to process that your loved one is not here, I encourage you to embrace those things because it's healing for the heart. And we are trying to process they are no longer here. Number 5, gratitude. Being grateful. I know it's hard, but it's so helpful. It puts things into perspective for me that I actually had Mark in my life, that we were together for 32 years, that I had the opportunity to have children with him, travel the world, and to be the woman that I became. Because I met Mark when I was 18 and I was with him for 32 years. I became the woman that I was because of him. I have so much that I am grateful for Mark Fornwald being in my life. And when I was able to pause and tell myself over and over and over again, you have been fortunate to have a wonderful man in your life. And I am grateful for that. And I also brought that gratefulness into my everyday experience because not only was I grateful for Mark in my life and our children, but I tried every day to find something that I was grateful about. And it allowed me to put life into perspective. The reality is that we come and go in this world. And sometimes we have an amazing experience with different people. And I was fortunate enough to have an amazing experience with Mark. And every day I look to see where the amazing experience lies. It can be something as small as I shoveled all the snow and I didn't fall on my butt, or my coffee was hot, or I got every suspense done on time at work. Sometimes we just have to capture the small things because the big things can be so overwhelming. Number 6, intimacy. As a widow that had a very robust in-person relationship with her husband, intimacy is cut off instantly. And I know some people say, how can you even think of something like that? We're alive. We're still here. And that part of the shame where people don't feel like they can be honest, that they miss intimacy. And I'm not talking just intercourse. I'm talking having a hug, holding someone's hand, someone taking time to brush your shoulder or tap you as you're cooking dinner. Those things are no longer there. And learning to deal with that is hard. But I learned that I can be honest about that. I would talk about it with my sisters, my girlfriends, or in my journal. But what I realized, I do not have to deny the reality that I missed those things because that was part of our relationship. And that is the truth of the situation. Number 7, I learned my faith was tested in Mark's passing. I was shaken to my core. Everything that I felt like what life was had been snatched from me. I didn't think I ever really got mad at God, but I was just trying to process the reality of what my faith says happens after we leave this world. So I spent countless hours searching through the scriptures and the Bible and reading what this life has afterwards. And for you, your faith may be different, or you may not have a faith, but that may be a critical part of dealing with the passing of your loved one, assessing what happens after this world is over. And for me, it caused me to dive deeper into my faith. It caused me to read my Bible more, to have more personal study time, because it was the reality that I only have this life. And the faith that I had up until this point had to sustain me. This was the battleground. Everything else to me up to now was practice. This is where I had to determine if I truly believe what I say or if I've just been talking a lot of junk. And I'm glad to say that it sustained me. It encouraged me. It helped me. And I encourage you, whatever your faith is, to lean into it. But I do know that oftentimes in this process of grief, our faith can be tested where people walk away from their faith. And I have to say, most of the time when I talk to people, it's part of their process. We can't prevent people from feeling the way that they feel. But if you are supporting someone that has walked away from their faith, please let them know that you still love them. Please let them know that you still encourage them. The matter of where they are struggling, do not let that be a place that you turn away from them. They need you more now than ever before. Number 8, wearing a mask. I didn't think that I was wearing a mask, but one of my friends called me on the change of my behavior. She told me that I wasn't showing up in life the way that I normally did. And when she came to my home and challenged me on that, I had to reflect and realize I was wearing a mask. I would go to work, be chipper, do the things that I have to do at work, and then I would come home and fall apart. I was isolating. I was not socializing. I wasn't connecting with other people. And I had stopped using my coping skills. And the only thing that I was doing was putting on a facade. And I realized for me, wearing a mask does not help. For me, leaning into my coping skills, journaling, meeting with my mental health professional, spending time with family and friends, exercising, and being honest about how I am feeling in any part of my grief is important. Wearing a mask is something I did, but I took it off and have plans to never put it on again. Number 9, I am not the same person. Who I was as Mark Fornwald's wife ceased when he no longer lived in this world. Am I the same person that you see on the outward? Yes. But inside, I am forever changed and different because Mark no longer walks this world. The day that he passed, I remember myself being crouched down in the corner of the hotel, screaming into the phone, telling my sister, he cannot be dead. I love him. In my mind, there was this cloak of protection because I loved him. And certainly his life could not be over, but I was wrong. The Tina that I am now, there are so many things different about me. I do not take life for granted. I do not assume that people will be there the next day. I choose my words carefully. I try to say no when there's something I don't want to do because time is precious. And I shouldn't spend my time doing things that I don't want to do. Things that I have to do that may be hard. But the things that I have a choice about, my no game is strong. I love my children and I will show up in their lives anytime I have the capacity to do it. My siblings are my strong anchor, and I appreciate each and every one of them. My friends, they are my soul. They are the people that I talk to in so many different places and time. My tribe, you, the widowhood, are important to me. Every time I receive a message from one of you, you've listened to a podcast, something has helped you, it is the way that I just know that I am living this life in a different way than I did before. Number 10, huh, dates, anniversaries, birthdays, and holidays. Triggering, triggering, triggering. And it's like, oh, you made it through the first anniversary. You made it through the first birthday. And I was like, but we got to do it next year because he's not coming back. Like the anniversaries or birthdays, they keep coming every year. In the first year, I was like, okay, we're going through all these. And then year two and year three. And now we're on year eight. I needed to start preparing how I was going to deal with these dates. Sometimes they snuck up on me and it really wasn't bad. But when they did, whew, they knocked the air out of me. And when I was able to just realize it was heavier sometimes than other, I took off of work. I couldn't do it. I couldn't pretend because I was not going to put a mask on and go to work and pretend that everything was okay. I had to feel my feelings. If I was going to stay in bed, I was going to go to the beach, I was going to sit in the car and scream, but I was not going to pretend that these dates, these anniversaries, his birthday did not matter. The wedding anniversary, I stopped celebrating that or even really thinking of it or counting it probably about 2 years after he passed, because to me, it was an unanniversary. He died. What am I counting? That is what I told myself, and so I stopped. His birthday and I call it deathversary, when he transitioned, died, left this world, those 2 days still get me. Christmas was really hard also because Mark would go out into the woods and cut down a tree with the kids and bring back a live Christmas tree. And the kids enjoyed that. I was more concerned about the needles and having to keep it clean. That was my part. But when he passed, oh my gosh, Christmas was never the same. And I must admit, it is 8 years later, and I just don't seem to decorate the way I used to. I was wondering if it's because the children are older or because of the impact that Mark had on that holiday. Thanksgiving, him being at the head of the table and cutting the turkey. So impactful. And then I tried to just start making new memories because nothing could be the same in his absence. And I realized I had the power to make new memories on those same days and create something different, something that I could enjoy. So I invite you for the birthdays, the anniversaries, the holidays, whatever they are that you are celebrating, that you choose to celebrate them differently. They are not here. And so it's hard to try to do things the same exact way, but try something different. Go online, look up different ideas, talk to family and friends, and I think you may find something that you enjoy. Number 11, healing. I felt broken. I felt devastated, and my heart was crushed. And healing was important for me. I needed to heal my heart to learn to hope again. I needed to heal my heart to believe that good things were possible in my life. I needed to heal my heart to feel like I had a reason for existing because when Mark passed, I felt broken and felt like I had no value or no purpose. And I had to create a purpose. It wasn't something I thought that I needed, but purpose found me. And what purpose looked like was the development of Widowhood Real Talk with Tina. This 501(c)(3) that supports the bereaved has literally become the way I serve humanity and my purpose. It created a new identity for me. And because one thing I know that when your spouse passes or your loved one leaves this world, it changes how you see yourself in this world. If you were a sibling and your only sibling passed, the idea of feeling like you're an only child. If you are a parent and your child passes, your identity of being a parent is morphed in a way that it is very hard for many people to understand unless they've traveled that road. If you are a child and both of your parents are deceased, that feeling of being alone and not being orphaned. A spouse, when your partner passes, feeling like this person you had this covenant relationship has left this world. And who are you now in their absence? It is so important for us to find purpose and reason for our existence, because the person we love was part of that. And so creating our purpose, our why, our reason to get up out of the bed every day is vital for our existence. Number 13, I am capable of loving again. I am happy. The idea of being in someone else's presence and enjoying their time was something I was capable of doing. And I consider the idea that I love both of my children, Catherine and Alexander. I also considered the reality that Mark and I had spoken about what my life would look like in his absence. Because even though I can't stand it, he was prepared to leave this world. He never thought he would make it to the age of 60. And so we spent a good amount of time of talking about what my life would be in his absence. And he told me, I want you to continue living. I want you to have love in your life if possible. Wasn't something I wanted to hear at that moment in time, but when he passed and I was in this version of my life, I'm so glad that we talked about it. And I know some of you may have not had that conversation with your spouse and you're on the verge of wanting to date and you feel like, am I cheating? Am I doing something wrong? I encourage you to sit down with some paper and write a letter to your spouse about wanting to date, possibly wanting to get married, and let that sit there for a moment. Then come back to that same table, reposition yourself in a different seat, and write the letter your loved one would write back to you. You knew them well. You know them well enough to write in their voice to you. And that may give you the release, the acceptance, the permission that you are looking for. Number 14, resources. Oh my gosh. So many books, so many people to talk to, so many support groups. The resources gave me information that I didn't know. And what I know, there's a lot I don't know. But there are so many people out here with podcasts, grief support groups, and giving out information that helped me understand how my body was responding to the grief, understanding that there is such a thing as a grief fog. There was a mental haze that is going on, that my body feels a different way because of grief. And it wasn't me imagining this. Those resources gave me power to know that my grief is not something just me by myself again, like number one. There are other people experiencing this. And once I was able to normalize grief, it helped me to understand that this is something I will be able to live through, and I'm happy for the life that I have. These are my 14 things that I've learned on this journey of widowhood. Yes, there are a lot more that I can go over. So maybe I'll make another podcast like 15 through 28 or something like that. But these are the 14 I wanted to share with you now. I want you to know that I am sorry for the person that you have lost that has drawn you to this conversation. But I am so glad that you are here. Thank you for spending this time with me. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you for spending another episode with Widowhood Real Talk. If you found the contents of today helpful, share the episode to anyone you know who may need it. Subscribe to the show and tune in to Widowhood Real Talk each week. Then, visit widowhood-realtalkwithtina.org to join the community and access additional resources. Remember, you are not alone in this journey.